Diversity starts with understanding. Understanding yourself. Understanding how your subconscious and past experience affect your decision-making process, affect how you interact with the people around you, with the entire world around you. Welcome to IUPsych in Action. If this is your first time, please support the channel by subscribing and clicking the notification button. We will be posting every Monday, and every month we are focusing on a different subject. This month is about diversity and inclusion in the workplace from a psychological perspective. If you missed last week's video, I will leave either this side or I think this side, not sure which one. I will leave the link, and the video focused more on stereotype, prejudice, and discrimination. This video is focused on unconscious bias, also known as implicit bias. Unconscious bias are the underlying attitude and stereotype that people unconsciously attribute to another person or group of people that affect how they understand and engage with other people or group. In this video, I'm focusing on 5 unconscious bias. There is more, but I believe these are the most common unconscious bias in the workplace. Affinity bias, also known as similarity bias, is the unconscious tendency to get along with others who are like us. It is easy to socialize and spend time with people who are not different. It requires more effort to bridge difference when diversity is present. Affinity bias in the workplace happens when companies hire for culture fit. It's good to hire for culture fit, but you have to be aware of affinity bias. You are more likely falling prey to affinity bias when hiring team meet with someone they like and who they know will get along with the team. It's more often not because that person shares similar interests, experience, and background, which is not helping your team grow and diversify. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the inclination to draw conclusion about a situation or a person based on your personal desire, belief, and prejudice, rather than unbiased merit. In hiring, confirmation bias often play a determinantal role at the very beginning of the process when you first review a resume and from an initial opinion of the candidate based on inconsequential attributes like their name or where they are from, where they went to school, and so forth. It is the tendency people have to act similar to the people around them, regardless of their own belief. Also known as peer pressure. And we all have experienced peer pressure at a certain point in our lives. When your hiring team get together to review a candidate's application material and conduct the interview, conformity bias can cause individuals to sway their opinion of a candidate to match the opinion of the majority. The halo effect is the tendency people have to place another person on a pedestal after learning something impressive about them. When reading a prospective candidate's resume, you may see that they went to a particular university, and this may influence your opinion positively when looking at other areas, especially those that they might fall down on. Attribution bias. This refers to how we perceive our action and those of others. We tend to attribute our own success to our skills and our failure to factor outside our control. However, we tend to see the success of others as down to lack and attribute their failure to lack of ability. Beauty bias. This is a social behavior where people believe that attractive people are more successful, competent, and qualified, while appearances, race aside, are not protected by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It is a form of bias that is prominent in the workplace. One study has shown that traditionally attractive people, both men and women, earn higher income, whereas less attractive people earn lower income. Learning about unconscious bias has affected my life in a positive way. The first time I realized my unconscious bias I was shocked. I went to denial. I didn't want to believe it. Because that meant I had to look at myself in the mirror and see things I didn't want to see. It's hard. It takes a lot of work. It is important to understand unconscious bias, how they are formed, and how they affect our life. If you think you don't have any type of unconscious bias, you might not have the 5, the 6 I just mentioned, but there is more. It is important to understand unconscious bias and how they affect our decision making, how they affect our interaction with others. You may think you don't have any of the unconscious bias, the 6 I just mentioned, and you might be right, but there is more than just 6. There is a lot. I can leave a link below or mentioning the majority of unconscious bias that psychologists have classified. Affinity bias or similarity bias, we are all guilty of. We all have it. It's easier to interact with people that you know, people that are similar to you. I worked for an international organization where I always found myself drawn to people who spoke the same language as me, shared the same background as me, or they were from the same country. We always drawn to people that are more like us because that is our comfort zone. It took me a long time to break that, to be able to leave the comfort zone and be more open to other people who are different than me, and that I learned more from them than just being in with people who are like me. It was hard, but it was more rewarding. Me doing this video is going out of my comfort zone. This is one of the things I'm working on right now. Next month, I will be more talking about personal growth and wellness, how stress can affect your life at work and from a psychological perspective, but also how can affect your body. Because when we're talking about stress in the workplace, we don't think of it that can manifest physically. That is the theme for next month. I hope you enjoyed the video, and next week I will be posting another video. It's going to be more of a conclusion on what I discussed this entire month, diversity and inclusion from a psychological perspective. I will be sharing tips and strategies on how to improve diversity and inclusion in the workplace and how you can overcome some of your own unconscious bias for you to become a more diverse person.